Just going to copy the links into my groups. James, welcome everybody. We have James here this morning, just so I can share the live to everybody in my platforms. James, if you want to just say a big hello to everybody that is here today and share with us what brings you here.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, so it's James. I've just moved down to the southwest, so we're down now living in Metrica, and I've come down and I'm starting to share a practice called Innerdance, which I've shared here up in the city before, from about end of 2019 to about 2021, through all the COVID rubbish. And then we went traveling for a while, for about a year and a half with the family around Australia. And now we've moved down to the southwest. So, I've started sharing it down here. Just had the first group session on the weekend in Vass. And, I've got another one coming up in Busselton and then Margaret River, I think. So, going to be moving around a bit and seeing where people are and who wants to come and join.
Fantastic, James. So, everyone, I've just put a post out there the other day thinking I'd really like to get a guest speaker today, and I thought, you know what, we'll just see who responds. And here we are with James, who had an extraordinary journey. I'm really excited to have you on, James. So I guess I want to know, where did this journey begin for you? I guess you work with spirit, or you work on that wellness platform. Well, tell us when this journey really began for you to really take that off into the next level.
Yeah, so I don't know how far you want to go back into my life story or not. I've got a completely non-spiritual background, I guess. I was went to an all-boys school. I studied engineering and commerce, so I was very much in sort of the logical left hemisphere side of the brain. And although I did do art and things like that at school, even into high school, I kept that as like an elective. So I always had some creativity and that side of thing there that I was always interested in nurturing a bit. Very much sort of, I guess, looking at going into the corporate world, that kind of thing. I'd done an internship at Deutsche Bank in Sydney out of university, and then didn't get a job there. That was around the GFC at the time, was starting. Came back to Perth and worked in corporate finance for a couple of years there. Didn't really, I guess, at the end of the day, like money as much as I thought I did, or working that hard for it, I guess. So I ended up quitting there after about 2.5 years. Wondered why I didn't travel in university, and then went traveling. So traveled for about 2.5 years. You obviously, once you get out of the rat race, it starts to change your thinking on things. So gradually, with a lot of partying and having a good time, gradually, I guess, went to India for about 3 months initially, then went back to Europe, and then came back to India and spent about 6 months there. So I, by accident or by design, anyway, I had a crash on my scooter in the Andaman Islands and had to get a plate in my collarbone here. So I had to get surgery in India, which was an interesting experience. Luckily, I had good travel insurance, which paid for it all. And then after that, I had to sit still, I guess, for a while. So I was like, oh, well, I'd kind of been wanting to do some meditation or something like that. So I thought, oh, well, good time to do it now. I'm meant to sort of take it easy. So headed up to the north of India to Dharamsala, where the Dalai Lama lives, and joined a Vipassana meditation retreat with the guys who do the Vipassana all around the world. Didn't know what I was signing myself up for, but I guess being probably naturally a little bit introverted, I was okay. I could handle the not talking for 10 days and got through that. So that was my first spiritual experience, I guess.
Right.
processing a lot of, I guess, trauma, reflecting on how I reacted to people and things like that in my past life. To that point, I think I would have been, I don't know, what was it, 27, 28, yeah. So
Wow.
reflecting on a bit of stuff there. So that was kind of what, I guess, kicked things off for me. And then I went and also thought, well, I'm in India, so I should actually try and do some yoga. So we headed down to the south to Kerala area and actually over into Tamil Nadu and joined up and did a 2-week little yoga program in a Shivananda ashram in I think Tamil Nadu Madurai, like sort of middle of outback India. Not much going on there, but a fair bit of spiritual stuff around there as well, like all of India, I guess. Met my wife on the first day there at sign up, and that was about 10 years ago on the 1st of March.
You remember that? That's good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And so that was getting me more open to spiritual stuff, I guess, and that kind of thing. And then I was gradually traveling and met a girl from the Philippines there who said, well, we'll come over and have a look at, travel the Philippines. And I was like, oh, seems nice over there. So I went there and went to Palawan, where she was helping out at this retreat center, which was Baha'i Kalipai in Palawan, which is where Pi, who founded Innerdance, was, and where he was sort of teaching Innerdance and that kind of thing. So I went along, didn't know what it was, just one evening to like a meditation session kind of thing is how it is sort of pitched initially. It's obviously really hard to describe what Innerdance is, I guess, but went along to that. As that night, it's not the jungle, but it is it's the Philippines, so it's very lush and obviously there's a lot of animals and creatures and all kinds of things, and so playing the loud music and that kind of thing to really get you into the Innerdance spirit, I guess, and everything. And I didn't have any idea what was going on at this point, what it was really still. And my body started moving on its own, which is like one of the things that can happen with Innerdance, during Innerdance, when you're, I guess, a bit more open to the energy and that kind of thing. It certainly can work on your Kundalini energies and awakening those, this process. So like my hips were starting to move, and for me at that point, that was like the craziest experience I'd ever had on my in my life. Obviously, with the background I had, very logical background kind of thing. So whether by accident or by design, I guess, Pi was had starting the next day, had a 5-day course, like an energy school, he calls it, where he's teaching people how to facilitate Innerdance. I obviously, at that point, wasn't like, I'm going to be a facilitator or anything, but with that experience the previous night, I was like, well, I can't not explore this further and see what it is. So luckily I had the flexibility then of just backpacking around. So I'm like, I'll just stay here for 5 days or whatever and cancel my next little plan to go wherever I was going to head north. So stayed there for that. Had some amazing experiences there. With Innerdance, you're obviously tapping into some deeper layers of consciousness and that, so you can process a lot of trauma and pain. And it was funny, the friend from the Philippines who told me to come over, she was like, you have a lot of stored anger, and I was like, I don't really think I have anger, but anyway, got a lot of that out in Innerdance as well. You sort of you can, it obviously depends how deep you go into it, but in that sort of set and setting where it's obviously with Pi and there's a lot of people who are on a similar wavelength, I guess the energy is very strong there. So you really go quite deep, and you sort of like embody, I don't know, at times archetypes of like a lioness or something like that. Like you're getting a lot of anger out, processing a lot of stuff. But at the same time, then I guess once you go through that, you process that, you always sort of feel good on the other side. So states of joy and bliss as well. I guess with that sort of logical mindset, I think after about day 3, I started trying to figure out how it was working or what was going on and that kind of thing. And it stopped working for me, basically. Like I would then just lay there, listen to the music, but I'd be in my head thinking again, which was sort of like my past patterning and that kind of thing.
Wow.
Which is, interesting and a good experience, I guess, for me to understand, obviously, like when I've been facilitating it here now in Perth and that kind of thing. Obviously, it depends how open people are to things, but it can obviously be, I guess, ineffective for some people if they are so stuck in their head and you can't really get them out of that, or they're just not open to it in any way or really receptive to it. They'll just have a nice meditation and relax or whatever, but they won't get it. Whereas the person next to them who is more open to things could be doing anything, astral planing, like reliving past lives, whatever. Like, so
different for everybody, isn't it? Really, I love that you talk about the clearing the trauma, because there's a lot of people, James, that don't want to sit there and talk about it. They don't want to sit there and empty out. And I'm a counsellor, and I know there's people that won't come to me because they don't want to share that. They don't want to share that story. They don't want to relive that story. Whereas the inner dance sounds like that could really help people get rid of that suppressed anger, like yourself, just shift stuff that doesn't really serve you on that different level. And to me, it wouldn't mean you need to be spiritual to do it either, right?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's obviously, it's one of those practices where, like I guess I initially am framing it as a sound healing meditation, which is kind of what it is, I guess, trying to put it in context to compare it to something. But like Pi says, it's like you're trying to put something into a box that doesn't fit into a box. Like it is, once you get below that like initial just level of consciousness, like he did this to me, she did that to me, whatever, like just that little petty kind of day-to-day stuff that goes on in your head. Once you just get below that, then it's just infinite. Obviously, you're just energies, the universe, like whatever can come up comes up. So you can just really experience anything. And I think that is the beauty about this practice, is it's like it's music. It's just basically playing music, obviously in certain ways that Pi's developed and learnt over the years works the best way. But there's no, like, I'm there facilitating and helping with the energy and that kind of thing, but there's no like guru or anyone you need to like give your power away to. Like it's yourself there. So it's really like you're accessing your self-healing ability and really being able to process a lot of that stuff that people are scared of, I guess, don't want to confront. But I think within a dance, you're just there with yourself, I guess. And if you just keep listening to the music and don't run away from things, because obviously I guess things can come up and same thing, you might not want to confront it or deal with it at the time. So you might put it to one side or try and ignore those feelings or thoughts or whatever's coming up.
Right.
But obviously when you're in that space, like it's the perfect space to process and work through it. And I mean, you can, particularly in the Philippines, in there where obviously I guess people are more open and accepting and that I mean, people could be screaming and all kinds of stuff. Like you're just getting it out. You're not holding on to it anymore and just expressing it, anger, trauma, whatever, in any way, just to get the energy out, I guess. When it's negative and that kind of thing, obviously just manifests itself in a lot of ways. But if you're there trying to repress it or continue trying to avoid dealing with it, then
that's when that overthinking becomes an important part of this, is kind of like, to go into those thoughts, then to release, I guess, some of that stuff that's going on for you. And if you are overthinking it, you can go, well, I must be overthinking this. How do I release it? So, I think that sounds amazing, to be honest. I've never heard of it, because I know that I shared your post to my Spiritual Southwest group. that I run down here for the Southwest areas, and I was really intrigued. And my friend Sham, who's just joined, she's right into the Ganesh in India and all of that. She said we should go, but then we didn't because she was heading to Perth for her herbal course, and I really actually think we should go. It sounds amazing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Can you tell me some transformations people have had through your Innerdance as well too, James?
I mean, I think it's a very personal journey for everyone. So, and I mean, I think you just end up in these beautiful states where you're certainly not out there to, I guess, tell anyone you've transformed yourself or what's changed. You just obviously gain a lot more self-confidence and contentment internally, I guess, that you can internalize. Just feeling obviously, good about yourself for a lot of people, I guess, is a major obstacle. So even just stuff like that, where you're just content, feeling that things do have a purpose or a reason or whatever. So you can obviously, a lot of people are disenfranchised with life and wonder what's the point, and obviously with all the things going on in the world. So within Innerdance, you get back to a very centered place, I guess, where you're getting back in touch with, I guess, source, like the universe. You're really just getting back in touch with that. God, if you want to call it God, I guess, like
the divine.
It's got different names for everyone. But you're getting back in touch with that, which obviously, the majority of people in the world right now are just totally disconnected from. So just having a little glimpse or a little taste of that, I guess, can just really just help a lot of people from, I guess, incessant worry or whatever it is that they have, tension, pain, stress. So I think you can really, I wouldn't want to guarantee it, but I mean, I think most people who leave Innerdance feel really good afterwards. So you're just feeling blissed out's not the right word, but you can, certainly some people can. You just, you go through, generally what happens, you're sort of relaxing down initially, and then we'll pick the music up, and gradually your brainwaves come up again. And then it sort of just stops, like has a crescendo, tries to drop your brainwaves down into delta states. So you're sort of there, like coming into sort of trance-like states where you're, basically you can just feel that connectedness to everything, but also whatever's coming up then comes up for a reason. So you can sort of work through some stuff in those states, process it, whatever you need, or if you're lacking some guidance or something like that, looking for something creative to come through to you. When you're in those states, obviously you're a lot more receptive to those things. So these things can come through easier, and or you can perceive them, whereas before you couldn't. And then, hopefully you're processing that a bit more. And then towards the end, there's sort of reintegration phases where the music's gentler and you're just there.
Great.
Sort of in a Zen state, I guess, hopefully. Where you sort of reintegrate yourself. So if you have processed some trauma and that kind of thing, hopefully you can sort of close that, what you've opened up there or accessed, you can sort of put that back to a bit of an equilibrium state, I guess, and then you're calming down, and then hopefully towards the end of it you're just feeling good. Which
is the music on that high frequency, different frequency level stuff, the music that you play in the background, is that got some frequency healing through that? Is that interesting to know? Yeah,
I mean, like Pi who has, I guess, rediscovered this healing through, it's obviously, I guess, so we're playing it through sound, but I guess it is more the vibration and the energy that's coming through the sound that is doing the healing. But yeah, it's like I just at this point I just sort of go with the flow. So there's certain playlists and that kind of thing, certain songs, but you can do it with almost any music, I guess, that feels right. I try to not overthink it and just stay out of that logical side and just work more on the intuitive side of things now. So I just sort of got set playlists that I play. But Pi and other facilitators who've been doing it for a longer time, they do, some of them do, I guess, read the whole energy of the room and try and bring everyone along on the journey when we'll actually like DJ live, I guess, kind of thing. So we'll change the songs as they're going along. And yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously, sort of the energy and the frequency there. We sort of match each song to like a brainwave state that we think it drives. So then sort of got that there that we're going through. So you're obviously sort of starting out in sort of alpha and beta states and then dropping down into theta, hopefully initially, and then gradually picking up and then down into delta.
Hello there.
Come here. You want to come talk to me?
Come and say hello.
All right, you got to watch something else then.
Who's this little one?
Hey, come on. That's Luca.
Hi, Luca. Want to say hello to everybody?
Come on, come say hello quickly. All right, Daddy will come soon, okay? Come on.
Dad needs to go now, right?
Yeah, of course. That was always going to happen. I was like,
very cute, very cute.
Yeah.
Come and say hello, Luca, if you like.
Come on. Look, Ness looks nice. She doesn't look too scary. Huh?
Maybe we'll get to meet you sometime.
Yeah. Hey. I'll come in a few minutes, all right? Barbie, come on. Come here.
That's so cute. We're going to meet Luca, everybody. Oh, no, he's coming in.
Oh.
He wants Daddy to go with him. Hi, mate.
Come on.
Oh, today maybe not the day to go on camera, Dad. We want to see you smile, Luca.
All right. Just 5 minutes, okay? Oh, might have to talk to you again later.
All right, today's not the day.
He's very persistent, Luca.
That's all right, James. I just wanted to, when you get a chance in the comments, to comment where they can find you, your Facebook page and probably your website, so they can direct you. Now, just a quick question. Do you offer this online or only face-to-face?
It does work online. So, I can do one-on-one sessions, which we were doing during COVID initially. But, yeah, I mean, I think in person's obviously the best and nicest, but, we do both. So, the group sessions are obviously good where you've got the energy of everyone, I guess, and sometimes that can help people. I guess when somebody's releasing, maybe that'll help someone else kind of trigger them to go a bit deeper. But otherwise, one-on-one sessions are good as well. And I haven't done it yet, but I have been thinking about for like couples and things like that for therapy, where if anyone's having difficulty with their relationship, if they could get their partner to come and just sat down together and we did a private session with both of them. Like, I think when you access those states of together, where you're there together, I think it'll really help people get past some of that superficial stuff and maybe see each other again as on a deeper level. So
excellent. Oh, wow. I look forward to coming to a workshop sometime and, getting to know you a bit more. We'll organise another time that, that happens. But I hope Luke's all right there. He needs Dad to give him some time and watch TV. All right. Are you going to bring him? You're going to head off, or are you going to stay for a bit longer, James?
If you can hear me, I can come back in 2 minutes. Hopefully I can calm him down.
Oh, good.
We need to have a short break.
That's okay. I'll still be here. I'll talk to you shortly, James. Okay, so everyone, that's pretty interesting. Hello, Sham. Hello, Ramona. Hi, Leah. You bought a ticket, Leah. Oh, awesome. I hope that it's amazing. I might come on the 7th. It sounds really good. A bit of and this is the thing that I find really interesting is, when I listen to James's story, I look back at my life and my awakening started, really full on about 27, 28 after my daughter was born. So it's interesting how everyone has that very, very similar cycle to their journey. And, we've all got some form of trauma in some time in our life. And I want to say that you may think what I experience is not traumatic, but to me that would be that traumatic. So to clear that and to be able to experience something on that different spiritual level without having to talk about it, all of that kind of stuff, I think would be amazing. And, the inner dance would be awesome. So is anyone watching beside, I know Leah, you've got a ticket. What do you, I guess, have you experienced James's inner dance, or what are you hoping to experience? I don't know. I'd love to hear what some of your thoughts are, what you feel could come from your experience of doing this inner dance. I don't know. It feels like it could be really, really, awakening or nurturing to the self, or to move you forward, really healing. I would love to hear what some of you really, really think about experiencing that journey. And I know some of you, like Ramona, you live not in the southwest, but on the other side of the country, so it'd be interesting to see what you feel you could get from an experience like inner dance. It sounds like you go on an amazing trip there. And I love how the music can take you into that amazing frequency level off on another journey. So, let me know what you're thinking and your thoughts on that, everyone. While we're waiting for James, I'm thinking, let's pull some cards. If you can't sort of respond on that, Leah says, very much needed and hopefully help with the trauma healing and much more. Absolutely, Leah. I think we don't realize because, we might have had trauma later in life as well, even though, we haven't experienced it. We may not have experienced it as a child, but as an adult too. And everyone experiences that healing and that trauma in a different way. What happened for me is going to be different for you, but it's also interesting to see what people's thoughts are on what they think that inner dance would help them with as well. All right, so I'm going to pull some cards. I pulled this deck out today, the Angel Guide, which is by Kyle Gray, a lovely oracle deck. So let's pull some cards while we're waiting for James and put your questions out there. See what comes. All right. And I'm hoping that, that experience, I feel like that experience would be really rewarding for us, because I think, a lot of people, like I say, don't really like to continue to talk about their trauma. So to go into something that is a a space that holds space for them to be able to allow them to heal and to work through that stuff that's happened. It's really, really much needed. It would be a modality that would be different for a lot of people. All right, anyone got a question while we pull some cards out? Feels a bit weird talking to myself. I should be knowing because I'm used to that. But pop a question up or just share with us what you're hoping to get an outcome with a card, what you'd like to hear. And I'm just thinking too, I don't know if you saw my post this morning about what I do as a psychic medium. A lot of people have this expectation that a psychic medium read your mind, is a fortune teller, and is going to tell me this time and this time and this time and this time what's going to happen. But a lot of that people don't realize that, yes, this may happen, but it's all about, that hi, James is talking about what I do as a psychic medium to pass the time, but it's all about, yes, the tools that we've got to heal in the meantime. It's all good and well that Prince Charming may come at this time in your life, but if you haven't healed that trauma, if you haven't worked on that trauma, then, that may not actually fall into that time, or that person may come into your life and not stay because there's stuff that you haven't quite dealt with. So I always say my job as a psychic medium is to help you realize the things that you need to work on in between that time. Leah's bought a ticket for your Innerdance as well too.
Thank you, Leah. Hope you're going to enjoy.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to as well. And I think Sham wanted to come, but because she goes to Perth on the Sunday, it might be a little bit hard for her. So she might have to work in to have a one-on-one session with you.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I was hoping someone would throw a question at me while I was shuffling cards, but no one has. So we'll continue our talk and do that towards the end. So I guess, James, it's really interesting to hear about this Innerdance because, like I was saying before, everyone experiences trauma in a different way, but not, having someone to do that where you can release those thoughts and hold space for them in that nurturing environment would be something that probably a lot of these people listening today may match that, So it's a really profound experience by the sound of it. And I guess, I was saying I was about 27, 28 when my daughter was born, but then that's when I had my big awakening. My spiritual journey started around about that age as well. So I think it's a pattern for a lot of people. You have to go in I've got to do the corporate world, or I've got to be stable. I've just got to find a job which can keep me grounded, keep me earning money, keep my finances flowing in. And then when that age comes, you start to realize that, you're getting into your 30s, that there is some happiness and some joy there. And I would assume that this is what's happened for you through working in the corporate world and then flipping it around and finding your space in India. It must have been profound for you.
Yeah, I think, I think I know, because it was for me, definitely Innerdance, I guess I was open to it. I was receptive at the time. And I think Pi and that, they obviously said, because it was quite rapid for me, but I guess for some people it is. But I think obviously, 28, they say I think is it every 7 years or something that Saturn returns to your, I think it's the 7-year thing. So when you're 28, it's obviously a multiple of 7 from your birth. So that's when, you're more open to these things, I guess. So that was, I guess, the right timing for me to be there at the time. So, definitely from my prior experience or whatever, what my life had been up to that point of going on my first Innerdance journey, it was just totally profound, I guess. So I guess, it could be equivalent, I guess, to people who become religious and say they find God or something, or have some kind of experience. It would be a similar level of magnitude experience, I guess, that I had. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And in terms of, I guess, the trauma thing, like I think, like I feel when I doing a dance, you're not really like conscious of what you're necessarily processing, but I guess you're getting something out. So it's not like you can be like, oh yeah, I'm working on this now or whatever. Like I'm clearing this out. Personally, I'm never really conscious of what it is necessarily, but yeah, obviously you feel a lot lighter afterwards. So you've worked on something and got something that wasn't serving you out, whatever that was. You managed to work through some of that at least. So yeah, but I think it's obviously it's an ongoing journey for everyone. Like I don't think you can say you're going to go to so many inner dances or you're going to do so many somethings and you're going to be cured.
No.
You're going to hopefully, I guess, just be in a better state each time, I guess, and just gaining more and more confidence where you are in life.
That's right. That's right. And I would assume that you wouldn't even have to have some trauma experience if you're wanting to enhance your spirituality, enhance your connection to the divine or God, or on that level. That could also help with that. Is that right?
Yeah. No, definitely. I think you. I mean, that's where, like it's for just something where I guess you're just playing music, really, like the range of experiences you can have is very profound, I guess, which is what's attracted me to it, I guess, and I guess obviously being logical and I guess with that you're more skeptical of things, so the fact that it is just experiential, I guess it's what you experience as to whether or not it obviously resonates with you, but no one can really manipulate your personal experience of whatever it is, right? Like it's your experience, so whatever's coming up is coming up, and that's obviously then to the degree, I guess, that you're going to trust it and embrace what's happening, and yeah, I guess that's obviously as well getting into it initially, I guess, is obviously, I guess, like that if I was 28 or whatever or things like that, but how receptive you are obviously to these types of things. So I think maybe if people have worked with Kundalini energy before or done Kundalini yoga or something like that, they would be probably a bit more receptive to it. And then obviously, I guess, sort of how willing you are to let go as well is a big thing, I guess. So I know a lot of people are obviously anyone who's a control freak, I guess, or feels they need to, I guess, hold on to whatever they perceive as reality right now and don't want to let go of that, can hinder people on an inner dance journey, I guess, where in that case you might just be sitting there and having a nice meditation with the music, or at least hopefully a relaxation and at least getting out for a lot of people who are I guess stuck in like a flight or flight response in your sort of sympathetic nervous system. At least hopefully for a lot of those people you can get into some parasympathetic nervous system states where you're getting back into equilibrium and you're at least relaxing. And then I guess once you can get into those states, then it's just how receptive and open you are to whatever else is coming through on the other side. So
I can totally relate because I have fibromyalgia, so I have been stuck in that fight and flight mode for a very long time. So, I'm just go, 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 go. But I also find time to nurture the self because I think that's really important because otherwise my pain could be worse, Just to quickly ask a question there, James, can you share with us what the Kundalini is? Because I probably feel there's a lot of people that don't know what that is.
I'm not going to do a good version of explaining it. So, I mean, as far as I'm aware, it's your sacral energy, right? There's a lot of energy stored in your base chakra.
Yes.
And for a lot of people, that's obviously, it's obviously related to your sexual energy as well, I guess, which is obviously repressed for a lot of people from birth. But anyway, I guess obviously growing up through, particularly in the Western society now, that's obviously repressed shame. And then obviously that I guess sort of gets blocked and not able to express itself fully for a lot of people, or expressed in bad ways, I guess. But yeah, so obviously that's Kundalini awakening is about awakening that energy and having that travel up through the chakras, and flowing again through the body. So
do you, I guess the base chakra is that, and that's where we store a lot of our trauma or our grief or our loss or anything like that. So I guess, do you know much about the base chakra and what its prime directive is?
No.
Okay. I guess to put that,
I have learnt about it in the past.
Okay. That's okay. That's all right. I guess I was just kind of like linking that to, the sexual energy, but also the base chakra is about stability and clearing all of that too. So that matches really well to what your story is, to what Kundalini is for you and the big picture for you. And I love that, the way you interpreted that, because that makes a lot of people probably sitting here going, wow, I didn't know that I would store a lot of that stuff down there. And the energy center needs to function clearly and cleanse on a regular basis so that we function in that area as well. So it kind of, the way I think about it matches the way you think about it. So it's not an easy thing to explain, is it?
No. I think that's where, for a lot of this stuff for me, it's obviously what I experience, I guess, as to what I will trust or believe more so than, I guess, what you read. Obviously, what's been somebody else's experience or something like that is obviously, hopefully, where a lot of that comes from. But obviously, when you're just reading it, until you experience it, I guess, then I might not, I guess, place as much belief or trust in that until you sort of experience it yourself. So
absolutely. And I do relate, because that's how I work on that spiritual level, is I've got to experience a lot of this trauma myself or experience some breakthroughs myself, and then I can actually deliver that. Like my hypnotherapy, I did a lot of work on that for myself before I became a practitioner, and counseling, done a lot of work on myself to become that. And it is intuitively just guided to you to feel through that instrument or that tool that you're using. So I really love that, James. That makes me feel like I'm on that. I working with that and going forward to doing the Innerdance will be something to really look forward to. Yeah, I'm really excited.
No, definitely. I mean, I think that obviously having that experience yourself, obviously then I guess adds to the authenticity, but also yourself. Then I guess obviously you're speaking from a place of experience, maybe knowledge, but obviously then more experience at least. So you can, not that everyone's obviously going to have anywhere near the same journey as you, but at least you've been on it yourself, and you're not just like a professor or someone who's just studied it but hasn't actually applied it, sort of thing. So
Oh, great. So James, you also spent some time in Bali. You lived over there for a little while?
Not really. That's just me trying to confuse Facebook as to where I am as good as I can. No, we did. I mean, we spent, we traveled in Bali a little bit and that kind of thing, but we never lived there, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. So you didn't, I thought you maybe worked over there for a little bit, and I would love to know what it's like to work over in Bali and the experiences and stuff, but that's okay. No. So you've just moved down to the Metro Cup area?
Yeah. So we just moved down in January.
Yeah. And you lived in Perth before?
Yeah, just south of Perth, sort of Hamilton Hill. We had a little house there before we sold that to go traveling.
Yeah. Okay. And you've obviously got Luca. Have you got just the one child?
We've got a 5-year-old Bodhi who's where he's going to the little village learning, a little homeschool co-op here, a couple of days a week. So so he's only 5. He's a little bit more shy, maybe like his dad to start with, and I'm not sure if he understands the concept of school, but he was a hard no on school. Like, he'd seen school kids going around and stuff, and we're like, oh, you want to go to school next year? And he was getting quite emotional about it, and it was a strong no. So so we managed to find this, which is in Vass. They're about 15 minutes from where we live, and nice gentle start for him to gradually come out of the orbit of mum and dad, I guess, because he's had a very nurtured life so far, and spent a lot of time with his parents, and then obviously the last year and a half, basically he spent his whole life with his mum or dad. So
interesting.
It would be a very abrupt thing for him to just go to school all of a sudden.
Yeah, but the homeschooling works for a lot of kids. You know, there is just kids out there that just don't fit into the school system, or don't want to, or just would be more beneficial to do the homeschooling situation. So that's great. There's a lot of parents that probably sit on the fence as well with that, with their child, and, you know, not knowing, you know, if that's a solution for them. I know I grew up with my daughter, who I wanted to homeschool her, and the schools talked me out of it because of some barriers that she had with the social side of it. And they said that'll make it worse. And I kind of regret my decision, James, to not action that, you know, years later, because the school system doesn't work for everybody.
I think the biggest thing for most parents, I guess, is obviously the time side of things, and obviously being able to ship your children off to school for 6 hours a day or whatever it is, obviously helps give yourself time, or give parents time back. But I think if you can manage that, obviously they're your children are your most precious things. So you want definitely what's best for them. And I don't know. I think school obviously works for a lot of kids, but I think it's obviously a trying time for a lot of kids as well. I mean, I was quite a smart kid at school, I guess, so I was always okay there in terms of, like, with the teachers and that kind of thing. I was always at the top of the class. You got a little bit of bullying like that, but I mean, I wasn't down the bottom where you're getting told you're no good because your grades are no good, which obviously gets drummed into a lot of kids in certain settings. And then I went to an all-boys school, actually, because my dad went there, and that's obviously not really a great environment. Like, I wouldn't, for me personally anyway, I wouldn't spend money to send my children to a place like that, which, I don't know. Obviously, if you want to go into the Western world and earn a lot of money, that's probably a good thing. But you're just obviously repressing a lot of stuff, and it sets you off, I think, in the best way of relating to other people. So
absolutely. And Katrina Whiteacre, I don't know if you see her comment there, James, and I'm glad we brought this up, because she's just said that my boy is struggling at high school, and it's sad. So I don't know. You know, your boy's 5, but Katrina's boy is obviously in high school. I don't know if you've got any advice that you could offer her and support her through that situation.
I mean, it's a tough thing for everyone, isn't it? I guess in this day and age, with things like inflation and whatnot, and then I don't know what your job situation is or the money situation is. I mean, if you feel like you can take your child out and manage it, then I would definitely recommend it. I mean, obviously bullying and cyberbullying and all these horrible things that are happening that are just, I guess, getting exacerbated with social media and that, compared to when we went to school, I guess, 30, 40, whatever years ago it was obviously not. It's become seemingly, obviously, although we aren't directly connected to it, are we? Because they're our children, they're the ones experiencing it. But I mean, it does seem like a very toxic environment in certain situations, depending on obviously their friend group and who they manage to have there to support them. But yeah, I mean, if you have any, I guess, if intuitively it feels like the right decision, then I would definitely recommend to do it. Like if you're feeling in your gut like you shouldn't really keep your child there, then I would definitely recommend to do something, even if it obviously feels like it's going to be a challenge. I think, yeah, if that's intuitively and it feels in your gut like the right decision, then I think you should. That's obviously your mother's mother's instinct, I guess, isn't it? Or I'm getting the wrong term for that, I think. But it's like I guess you don't know what's on the other side potentially of leaving him there as well. Obviously, it's a scary thing to take him out, but maybe you're sensing something bad coming up if he stays there. I'm not sure. Don't want to scare you or anything like that, but yeah, I guess always try and act on your intuition. The social side, Ness, like you sort of touched at the beginning, that's obviously the thing that I guess people think, oh yeah, well the children aren't going to get any, they're going to be little hermits and totally socially awkward or whatever, which may have been the case, I don't know, 20 years ago, but I mean there's a lot of people down here in this area anyway, which is why we do feel it's good for us that are doing it too. So the little co-op that Bodhi's going to, I think there's 12 children there on a Tuesday, and then 12, there was a bit of crossover, but 12 on Thursday as well. So something like maybe 20 or so. That's a 4 to 6 year old group. So and then there's lots of families down here that are homeschooling. So there's definitely, you've obviously got to leave the house and go to social gatherings, but there's plenty of down here. So the isolation, the social things, not an issue. I think once you start to meet the community and join in, they're obviously everyone's lovely and on a similar page. I think, and then obviously the other thing is obviously, I don't know, depends on what your friends and your social circle and your parents think or whatever about doing it. Obviously you feel it's still weird. I guess people still consider it weird homeschooling, but I think once you get into that community, it just gives you comfort and it feels, for us right now, it feels really good. And I think depending on what Bodhi wants to do in the future, we would probably keep homeschooling. So
that's great. That's great.
I mean, one of the funny things, I was just talking to some mothers yesterday in the park about it. They've been homeschooling their kids for quite a while, and one of the mums there, Andrea's talking about now, or she's not sure right now whether or not to give a daughter a phone who's 16, and sort of feeling like that's a bad thing. And I'm kind of like, wow, I think in this day and age, like for a child not to have a phone yet at 16, it's pretty crazy, because I would think a lot of children, or I'd say most children out there at 16 probably these days have a phone already, which is good when it's a tool used for good, but obviously the potential downsides of social media when their brains are developing is pretty bad for a lot of children. So
absolutely. Katrina's just written here that she feels that she's not smart enough to homeschool her 14-year-old. Can you elaborate on that, how it actually works? Because are you the teacher, or are you there to see them through that journey?
We've only got a 5-year-old, so there's not a whole lot we have to do with 5 to 6. They obviously, I think when you look at like, say, if it was a Shiner school or something like that, at this age, they're more obviously about exploring their body. I think even up to sort of the age of 7, and instead of doing anything logical. For someone who is 14 or 15, I think there's a lot of curriculums you can get. Like you can buy the programs online or things like that. And I mean, hopefully it depends, obviously, like if you're going to take your children out of regular school, there's like obviously a period of, I guess, what they sort of call unschooling or something like that, where they've obviously got to go from having things forced upon them almost in terms of like education, like you're going to learn this now, you're going to learn that to kind of getting back into like self-directed, like where they choose what they're interested in to learn, and actually want to learn. So they want to learn for Bodhi, like obviously when he gets there, like he's getting more interested in numbers and that kind of thing, and counting. Whereas we're not sitting down with him right now and saying like, okay, you're going to learn to like count to 20 and whatever. Like, and he is starting to become receptive to it again and wanting to learn. But yeah, I mean, there's heaps of resources out there, and obviously even just things like YouTube and that, which is good and bad. But I think there's so much content on platforms like that that's free nowadays that, I mean, you can learn pretty much anything. So I think once the children get that like self-directed wanting to learn and finding out what they're interested in, I think it becomes quite a lot easier. So
yeah, I definitely think so. And Katrina, I think doing your research, having someone and phoning the homeschool and finding out exactly what's involved, you might not need to do any of the teaching. It might be completely online, and it might be structured for someone to be there like a school of the air. I'm not 100% sure on that as well, but do some research. I think definitely look into it. I just want to say to Katrina, my daughter was highly bullied throughout her school years, and through that unfortunately she's suffered a lot of trauma. So if you feel like something isn't right, then I would definitely be looking at that and investigating how you can stop that from happening, because it's not fair. And they will have that for the rest of their life. You know, those stories aren't nice. And, you know I've been bullied throughout my life, and those stories, I look back and I've healed a lot of that. But everyone deals with it differently. So it's always good to have that backup support for you as well, to find out what you need to do.
Yeah. Just on that, I'll pop it in. Give her a plug. I think there's a lady down here. I think her name is Annie Bogart, who is a big promoter of homeschooling, and so she's definitely a good person to talk to about that. I think she does a consultation for $90 or something for an hour or so. But we did that initially with her, obviously when we weren't sure and didn't know anything about homeschooling and thought it was weird and whatever. So we had a chat to her, and she's got a lot of knowledge there. So
okay. Yeah. So is Bogart spelt Bogart?
Yeah, might be a U in there, I think, but yeah.
Okay.
You type that in homeschooling Southwest or something, I'm sure you should probably find her.
Yeah, I'll just there might be a U in there, so we put U after A, and hopefully that's about right. So people can have a research for Annie there for a little bit more information. Yeah. So, James, we probably should be winding up now. We're almost hitting the hour. So before I finish up and read some cards and deliver some insight for everyone, is there anything you want to share with people, to be able to help them, or what you can offer them? Is there anything you would like to share with everyone?
Yeah, I think obviously it'd be great to welcome you all on an Innerdance journey for anyone who can make it. And I think depending on what you've done in the past, I guess, yeah, like I've been sort of saying so far, the beauty of Innerdance is how experiential it is, and really it is just yourself and working with your own energy, seeing what comes up, what you process, and yeah, that's just where I just feel it's such a beautiful, authentic thing where you're not working like with a guru or someone like that, or you're giving your power away. Like it really, you're working on your own, embracing and enhancing your own power. So yeah, I really feel it's a beautiful self-healing practice, I guess, and you're really you're getting back in touch with your innate ability to self-heal, I think. So I think there's a lot of people out there who will want to tell you that you can't work on things yourself, or you need to work with them, you need to pay them this blah 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 kind of thing. Like, and some programs get pretty expensive, and people do get, I guess, trapped in certain things like belief clearing and all kinds of stuff and things, and you might have spent a lot of money and might not feel much better than you do. So I think with like Innerdance, it's because it is just so self-directed. You're just working on it yourself, which maybe some people don't feel like they're ready for, but I think you just come and give it a go and see what happens. So,
okay. So
great to welcome you all.
That's right. The next one is, sorry, James, when and where and how will they find that?
Next one is 7th of April. So I'm going to be doing each Sunday fortnightly, 3 to 5 p.m. So this one I'm going to be doing at Essential Yoga in Bustleton. So that's next to the Good Egg Cafe there. And then I'm going to do the next one after that in Margaret River at the Shala on Terrace View Street, I think it is, 64. So I'll do that on the 21st. So at this point, that's what I'm going to be doing. And then I'll see how much interest there is and if I increase it to weekly or maybe do one during the week. I'm not sure. But for me, generally, I've found Sunday afternoon sort of a good time for people to be able to. Generally, it's free for a lot of people. So, yeah.
Yep. And then, what's the cost on that, James?
At the moment, it's $33 for a group session. And, yeah, I mean, if you book now, I think I've got 20% off for early bird for the first week for everyone who wants to grab a ticket early. So.
Fantastic. Wow, that's really great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to pop in on the comments the link to that and also
my
social media
not
stuff.
Not going to touch much. My computer's semi-frozen, but it's still working, so I can't open the chat, but
that's okay. That's fine. We'll find that out even if we pop it in.
I can add it as a comment or something like that, but yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, but it's either my mouse has given up the ghost or maybe it's just my mouse. Okay.
It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you. And I guess we're going to put out there just a couple of cards. And if anyone has a question that I'd like to just remote it for a general thing, just pop it out there or put it in your thoughts, put it out there to the universe. See what spirit can guide us with today, because we've chosen the Kyle Gray Angel Oracle deck here. So, James, you might have a question in your mind that you might be thinking. Just put it out there in your thoughts to the universe. See what spirit can give us some guidance with today. All right. So here we go. Mother, Father, God. This is an interesting one. You may have some comments on that too, James. This card is giving me confirmation that when we look for guidance, we may look for God guidance. We may look for guidance with Mother, Father, or feel like we're caught up in maybe what we're talking about control, being controlled by certain things in life, or control with, got to be like mum or dad. That's not right. Or control of society or belief systems or something around those lines. The spirit is saying to me, the belief comes from you. It doesn't need to come from an outside source. It needs to come from you. And I think this is what this card is telling us all today is focus on what you need, just because it might not be right for somebody else, okay? It's believing in you and what you feel is right for you. So it's about trusting your intuition. And I know that sometimes we feel like that wouldn't be what mum would do, or that wouldn't be what dad would do, or that wouldn't be what the church would do. But I'm getting guided. The best thing for you is to listen to yourself and your own inner thoughts, your higher self, your guides, your spiritual team, whoever is with you, helping you, showing you steps along the way, which is the right path for you. So listen to those synchronicities and what guidance you get. Okay. So that's my interpretation on that card. I don't know if you feel anything from that, James.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, I mean, you're touching that divine intuition and light there, and being guided by your heart, I think, is a big thing there for me, isn't it? Instead of, stepping out of that fear base, I guess, and stepping into love and the heart space instead of, I guess, worrying about what others think of you or what others might feel. If you're acting out of that heart space and that feels right to you, then I think you can never go wrong doing that, and that always feels right. So
we're always right when we trust our intuition, right? Coming from that heart
what
space,
it is to do.
Coming from your heart space, you're only got good intentions, right? So trusting it's really important. I love that. Thank you for that. And we'll pull one more card. No one put any questions out there, so we're just going to go with the general guidance today. Okay, vulnerability and freedom. So for us to get some freedom in life is to be vulnerable in so many ways. There's a fine line into how much you share of yourself. Then there's people out there, and I remember one friend of mine said to me a few months ago at a retreat, we were talking about relationships and what you give of your heart and new relationships or new connections and trusting people. And a lot of people say, I always give all of my heart and I always give all of who I am and I get nothing back in return. So it's being that vulnerable self. You don't have to change that. But this friend said to me, well, until you really learn to get to know someone, because trust is earned, is being, giving only half of yourself, just a little bit, because a lot of us feel like we've got to be vulnerable and show ourselves full up front. That's a belief system for a lot of people, is that we need to give all of ourselves to be vulnerable, to get the freedom to speak freely, to be on that path with ourselves is to give all of our heart. So sometimes, trusting your heart, which works very well with the last card, in your intuition and knowing inside yourself. But, when you're giving of yourself, it's only just a portion of you that needs to give that until you're feeling ready to share your heart. And I know I had a friend of mine contact me going, I found love and all of that stuff. And I always say, just take a day at a time, a step at a time, trust your intuition, any red flags, anything that isn't working for you, trust it, because that's where we don't listen to ourselves and we end up years down the track going, I wish I had listened. So it's about just remembering to give a little bit of yourself each time, and then the freedom will come from that. All right. So James, is there anything you would like to add?
I think, for anyone who's, there's probably not too many here listening to it, but anyone who's, I guess, a real control freak and who maybe they don't open up in any way. They don't share much of themselves. They're just very guarded and keep their cards close to their chest, as they say, I guess. And just make sure you're giving a little bit of yourself, so people are starting to get a bit more of a glimpse of what is underlying the surface there, and for yourself as well, I guess. So you are exploring that a little bit more than maybe you have in the past. So just being open to things, not thinking you know everything, I guess, all the time, and just being a little bit vulnerable at times and willing to surrender to, I guess, the divine and something greater. So
yeah, I love that. Open the door bit by bit and, getting to know the situation and putting your foot in and just feeling around a little bit. I love that. Thank you. Leah said it makes sense to her, and Ramona says very, very vulnerable and presently, so tuning into myself right now. So that all fits, I suppose, with a lot of people coming out of that full moon energy, the Libran full moon energy, the eclipse, that was quite big for a lot of people. So it's, really bouncing it back and focusing on yourself again. And, come out of your comfort zone, buy a ticket to James's Innerdance and see if that's something that you resonate, opening that door to a little bit of something new. So you just never know, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. Look forward to sharing it with everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's great to have you, James, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks' time for another Nurture Natter. And hopefully James will get you back now that this is all done and out of the way and you know what you're in for. We'll get you back in a few months' time and see how you're traveling and, what's been happening with you.
Sounds good.
Thank you, and have a nice Easter. Have a nice Easter to you, James.
Yeah, you too, Ness.
And have a nice Easter, everybody. Good luck. Love and light to you all. Thanks, James.
Love and light. Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks. See ya.